I was at an event a few weeks ago looking at a particular area of Devon in relation to developing a youth strategy, and one of the areas to do with young people and mental health. And what was really interesting within that group was that one of the young people, in a very matter-of-fact way, said right very early on within the conversation that she was diagnosed a couple of years previously with bipolar, and she said it in exactly the same way as if she had said that she had her appendix out a couple of years before. And for me, it had a real impact that many of us in the group, which are mostly adults, a number of us would have also perhaps at some stage in our life have had maybe acute problems with our mental health and or even mental illnesses as well, and yet none of us felt comfortable about adding to that disclosure from that young person, because for many of us it's still a big deal, but for her it felt like a perfectly okay thing to say. And the impact that had on the group was actually quite profound, because in fact it did make many of us question why it is that we all feel uncomfortable, where I don't feel uncomfortable about saying I had my appendix out, and yet I do feel uncomfortable about saying that I might have had a period in my teens when I was a hypochondriac, for instance, which I was. I was seriously unwell with hypochondria, and of course lots of people laugh about that as a kind of thing, but in fact it had a major impact on my life. But actually I was able to learn how to live through that and develop some recovery mechanisms, which meant that it is just part of who I am, but it isn't something I'd feel normally comfortable in disclosing. Why? And that's the thing we need to challenge ourselves, is to say, nothing's changed from me saying that now to what I said a few minutes ago, we've all got to feel a bit more comfortable about owning areas without it becoming a big deal, so it doesn't make people feel that uncomfortable when they're in a situation where they're struggling in some way to talk with somebody else about it. We want to normalise it. As someone up until now, I've never worked within a school setting before, and now I am, and it's fascinating because I was with the whole school group yesterday of all teachers exploring issues to do with safeguarding, and one of the teachers made a really pertinent observation, saying, you know what, we have more time with a number of our children and young people than some of the parents do, and the significance that we can have in the lives of those young people around building meaningful relationships and being that significant adult that perhaps that person can talk to about whatever, is a role that we shouldn't devalue. And although teachers can feel very pressured because there's so many expectations on them, the more that we can normalise what we're talking about now in relation to mental health and not make it into a big deal, but to take an interest and to remain connected to that particular young person or child that might be the one that up until now has remained invisible, that could be the bit that makes a difference. So we need to find ways of ensuring that whether it's part of teacher training, whether it's part of a particular whole school transformation, and also embedded within the culture of schools, where the whole approach around mental health is very much an asset-based approach, rather than say, what do we do when somebody is mentally unwell or mentally ill or really struggling with mental health? Yeah, let's get them referral into a counselling service, or let's get them linked online. All those things are absolutely crucial, but it's all what goes on before they need to do that, so for many of them they never need perhaps to then link into the next level of help and available. Then we can really say that it is everybody's business.